Welcome to the University of Oxford for our second Sustainable Finance Summit. We're delighted to host you for what we hope will be two very special days. I want to take this opportunity at the start of the conference to tell you more about the summit and the work we do on sustainable finance at Oxford. But before I do that, I want to thank our sponsors. Our platinum sponsor is Franklin Templeton, and we're delighted to have their support. I particularly want to thank Anne Simpson, Global Head of Sustainability at Franklin Templeton, for speaking at our debate last year and for joining us again this year as a speaker and for bringing her colleagues as well. I also want to thank our silver sponsor, Insight Investment. Earlier this year, Insight also endowed a prestigious new Greening Finance Prize at Oxford, and you'll hear more about that and find out who the inaugural winners are on the second day of the summit. The prize is a super exciting development, and we're delighted that they've been able to support our mission in this way. Without the support of Franklin Templeton and Insight Investment, and the support of our other funders, this summit and our work would simply not be possible. So thank you for your support. Before continuing, I do want to apologise for not being there in person. This is gut-wrenching for many reasons, especially as there are so many of you attending who I've been dying to see for quite some time. It's also just a bit hypocritical. After all, it's meant to be an in-person conference, and that isn't lost on me, and I'm really sorry I can't be there. We designed the summit to create some time and space for participants to get away from the office or home office, to critically engage with emerging theory and practice, to meet old friends and make new ones, and have some fun in lovely surroundings. The summit programme has been designed closely with my colleagues across Oxford. The sessions are all on topics where we're doing significant work here at the university, and I hope you'll get that sense from the panels and from the discussion. We've taken account of feedback from last year and, among other things, have introduced a more regionally focused tilt, in this case towards Southeast Asia. So there is a spotlight session on ASEAN. This is a really important region for the development of sustainable finance, and we're delighted to welcome a number of speakers from Southeast Asia to the summit. I particularly want to thank Darian McBain and Client Earth for supporting our efforts in this regard. We continue to strive for diversity in all of its senses across our sessions. At the time of making this recording in early July, it looks like we'll be at around 50-50 gender balance for speakers and chairs. This is a slight improvement on last year, where we did quite well, but there are always more we can do. Unfortunately, we continue to perform much less well on other forms of diversity, particularly ethnic and cultural diversity. As we look ahead to the 2024 summit, we would really value suggestions for future speakers that come from underrepresented groups. So please do reach out to me or to colleagues with ideas, or even better, with introductions. To help us ensure access, we also heavily subsidise registrations and provide free tickets for academics, students, and those from the public and third sectors. This is only possible because of sponsorship, and while we can't always give as much support as we would like, the levels of subsidy are significant. So if there are organisations or individuals that want to support access in this way, please do get in touch. I said this last year, but we want you to use the sessions to really kick the tyres on ideas and innovations. This isn't about hearing a series of 8 or more 3-minute marketing pitches in a very short 40-minute plenary session, a totally meaningless format that we see too often in some conferences. We want much more audience participation, and we want you to be engaged in the conversation. And critically, we also want this to be a space where there is debate and even outright disagreement. Through debate, we individually and collectively learn and can find better ways to navigate shared challenges. That is a spirit we want to see in every session of the summit, but it is also a reason we have a closing debate on a motion that is designed intentionally to provoke some soul-searching. So big thanks to those that have agreed to participate in the debate this year. It plays a really important role. Sustainable finance is definitely among the newer fields of research and teaching at Oxford, but it is one where we have established world-leading capabilities already. The Oxford Sustainable Finance Group is the focal point for our activities. The group was set up to align finance and the financial system with global environmental sustainability. And we do that by seeking to define best practice, by trying to ratchet up that best practice and to help socialise and drive the adoption of those best practices. We're the largest such group at our university. We have over 40 people in the group now, and we have a depth and a breadth of expertise that draws on the physical and social sciences across the University of Oxford. I wanted to take this opportunity to highlight some new additions to our team. The first is Dr. Julia Bingler, who joins us from the University of Zurich. Julia is a world-leading expert in natural language processing and how it can be applied to questions in sustainable finance, and she'll be leading a new program of research on natural language processing called Natural Language Processing for Sustainable Finance, and that was launched on the 11th of July. Another addition to the team is Dr. Inji Johnston, and Inji is developing a new program of research and teaching on offsets and offsetting and how that relates to finance and the financial system. And this builds off the really important work we've been doing across the university on offsets and offsetting. Dr. Krista Haltonen is also joining the team, and she's recently joined from the London School of Economics, and she's going to start leading our work on the future of stewardship and engagement. We also have Dr. Matt Burke, who is the first Willis Towers Watson Research Fellow, and he is going to be developing, amongst other things, a program of work on adaptation finance, which is critically important. How do we scale the amount of capital going into climate adaptation and resilience? How do we make sure those issues are properly integrated into financial decisions? And finally, I wanted to highlight another really important appointment, and this is Matt Scott, who joins us from WTW, and before that from the UK government, where he led the green finance strategy work, and then before that at the Bank of England, where he led and created really the Climate Hub at the Bank of England and initiated a lot of their work on climate change. And Matt will be the new Executive Director of the UK Centre for Greening Finance and Investment, which is a very significant appointment, and he'll be taking on the day-to-day responsibilities of CGFI, and be very excited to work with him in that capacity. So please take the opportunity whilst you're here at the summit to meet with those new colleagues, but also of course other members of the team. And I would just invite now members of the group to raise their hand, stand up, and make themselves known to all of you, so you know who they are and can and strike up conversations with them over the next 2 days. The other thing I wanted to update you on is the Oxford Sustainable Finance Lab, a physical space for Oxford researchers to co-locate with practitioners visiting from financial institutions, supervisory authorities, central banks, government departments, and civil society organisations. And the idea is that visitors will have the opportunity to collaborate with Oxford researchers as part of sprints, joint projects, sandboxes, or simply to use time in proximity with world-leading researchers to spark ideas off each other and learn from one another. Now, I optimistically said this would open in winter last year, spring this year, potentially. So take heed if you ever plan some kind of property development at a university. They are much more complex undertakings than you might think at the beginning, and so things have taken a bit longer than I had hoped, but we have good news. We have taken possession of a 2-storey space on 16 King Edward Street, just off the High Street, which is part of Oriel College. And that space is now under refurbishment and will be moving in, probably in the autumn now, or at least that's what I've been told. So watch this space, it is happening, but it's just been slightly delayed. One of the final things I wanted to remind people of are dates for the next summits. So the 24th, 25th of July 2024 and the 16th and 17th of July 2025. Please save those dates. I've also got some thank yous. Firstly, I want to thank colleagues who have helped with all the different sessions. I want to thank the speakers, many of whom have come from a long way away to contribute to this summit. And then I want to particularly thank also Sophie Robertson-Tillett, who is Deputy Chair of the Summit and has played a key role. Lucy Erickson, who has helped with the marketing and the comms. The caterers, the audiovisual staff, the staff at the examination school, the Ashmolean, the Sheldonian, and Freud's. And in particular, Jimmy Jia, and then finally, Patrizia Ferrari. Both Patrizia and Jimmy have played an absolutely key role over the course of the year since the last summit to make this a tremendous success. So please seek them out and thank them if you can. And at the end of the summit, make sure to give them a big round of applause. One final reminder, all the sessions are being recorded and will be made publicly available online after the event. Please do share those with your colleagues. And of course with your networks, and there will be sessions you might not have been able to attend, partly because we have parallel sessions, so you can use that as an opportunity to catch up on things you've missed. I hope you have fun today and tomorrow. I'll be raising a toast to you all, and I'll also be making some devotions to the weather gods to make sure you have great weather for your time in Oxford. Now I'm going to hand over to Sophie, who's going to introduce the first plenary session. Over to you, Sophie.